네, 안녕하세요. 코트라 워싱턴 무역관 정세원입니다. 최근 글로벌 탄소 감축 움직임이 강화되면서 자동차 업계도 친환경 자동차로의 변화 움직임을 함께하고 있는데요. 과연 5년, 10년 뒤 자동차 산업은 어떻게 변화할까요? 전기자동차 붐은 그대로 이루어질까요? 미중경쟁으로 글로벌 디커플링이 이루어지고 있는 지금 전기차 배터리를 둘러싼 온오프쇼어링 움직임 등 다양한 지정학적 이슈가 많은데요. 오늘은 자동차 산업 정책 전문가이신 미국자동차연구센터 앨런 아미시 대표님을 모시고 자세한 이야기 들어보도록 하겠습니다.
My name is Alan Amici. I'm the president and CEO of the Center for Automotive Research. We're located here in Ann Arbor, Michigan. And our mission is to inform and advise. And we inform and advise our constituents in three ways. One is with our original and independent research. A second method is through the events that we hold, like our flagship event is Management Briefing Seminar each year in Traverse City, Michigan. And then third are our programs. We have an affiliate and automotive community partnership programs where we try to get like-minded and unlike-minded people together to talk about difficulties in the auto industry and potential solutions. Supply chain disruptions have been the top of mind for OEM CEOs. It's what they've been thinking about for the past 2 to 3 years. And so they put a lot of effort in changing the strategy to shorten supply chains, so make them more robust, more resilient, shortening them, in some cases onshoring. So there's been a lot of effort to make them more resilient. And this could include second sources. It could include onshoring of components. It could also include strategic design such that there's a larger supply of components. So it's been top of mind for OEMs, and it's taken a lot of effort, but they've made some significant improvements in the supply chain resiliency recently. Critical minerals are a really important part of the future of the auto industry, especially when we look at EV production. And the expectation is in the United States, approximately 30 to 40% of sales in 2030 will be EVs. And a big part of that will be the limitations in terms of critical minerals for battery supply. So you're seeing OEMs reach up into the supply chain. So they're looking at not only their tier 1 and tier 2 suppliers, but also tier 3 and tier 4 suppliers. And in some cases, they're securing mineral rights or they're securing production in some of the processing plants. So this is really new business for the OEMs in the United States. No, I think it'll be a big industry. Right now, there aren't very many EVs in the marketplace. And there are even fewer EVs that are 10 years old that require new batteries or recycled batteries. But very soon, this will become a really big issue here in North America. And this circular economy, so the ability to recycle lithium or cobalt or nickel, or in some cases graphite, will be an important part of the supply chain. So I think there's a lot of planning. There's a lot of discussion right now on how to do battery recycling. There's not a very robust industry at this point, but there will be soon. So expectation that will grow significantly, and it will really aid the circular economy. So lithium will be recycled and cobalt will be recycled, and the same with nickel. One of the challenges with EVs is that EVs are very heavy. So EVs are 500 to 1,000 kilograms heavier than their internal combustion engine counterparts. And so with this added weight, it creates the need for certainly lightweighting, what materials can be used, an extensive use of maybe more aluminum or more high-strength steel that might be lighter. But there's some other areas like electric motors. So electric motors have been around for more than 100 years. But now that you have the power of the automotive industry really interested in electric motors, I think you'll see some innovation in that space. So making electric motors smaller, making them lighter, changing materials, perhaps even printing the conductors within the electric motor. So I would look to the automotive industry to really focus on taking some weight out and in fact making electric motors smaller. Certainly other areas are like battery cell chemistry. Lots of effort, lots of investment right now in the next generation of cell chemistries. How do you create a battery with more energy density, so it provides the same power but is lighter, or the same storage capacity but is lighter than the present generation of batteries. Also batteries that are safer, that don't have the same issues in terms of if there are defects in the battery, they may have thermal runaway. So they're trying to solve those problems as well. So I think those areas like weight, size reduction, battery technology, those are really important areas. An additional area, maybe another challenge would be, it seems the industry is moving from range anxiety to charging anxiety. So there are plenty of EV models that are available now in North America, but the supply of EVs seem to be outstripping the availability of EV chargers. And so this notion of, I've got 400 miles of range, but I'm a little concerned about where I'm going to recharge if I'm not at home. So look for a lot of development in the EV charger space, and look for some interesting innovation. I think the IRA will significantly impact people's interest in buying EVs. We expect EVs to be approximately 21% of sales by 2030 without the IRA. With the IRA, we expect somewhere between 30 and 40% of new vehicles to be EVs by 2030 in that same time frame. So the IRA is providing a significant boost to EV sales. The tax credit is $7,500 available per car, as long as it's manufactured in North America. And other companies that presently do not manufacture EVs in the United States have a little challenge, and they are trying to bring production of EVs into the United States. But there's also a provision in the IRA that makes leases available. So you could see a significant increase in leases of EVs, because cars manufactured by Hyundai would qualify for the IRA tax credit as well. So the purchase model may change from a purchase to a lease program, which would include foreign cars like which would include non-US automakers as well. But I think you'll see a significant increase in production due to the IRA. Well, I think there has been a change in globalization, and it goes back to the supply chains. We're trying to, the industry is trying to create more robust supply chains, shortening the supply chains, and in many cases onshoring the supply chains. And this is true in North America, but also in Europe as well. So there's a little bit of retreat from globalization. So in North America or in Europe, I think there will be a cautious view on the geopolitical ramifications of relationship between China and the rest of the world. So I think those are being taken into consideration. China has a terrific market. They're the world's largest car market, and they've developed EVs very well, and they're a player in the autonomous vehicle sector. So China is a formidable competitor in terms of technology and automotive, so that, they're a strong player. But again, I think that there's a little bit of a retreat from the globalization in the industry, and they're looking to see more onshoring. We've seen terrific investment, incredible investment in EVs and EV batteries in the past 2 years in North America. So last year alone, approximately $50 billion of investment in EVs and EV batteries in North America, unheard of. And we expect this year to be similar, with the $40 to $50 billion again this year in EVs in North America. And you're seeing signs from companies like General Motors and Ford and Stellantis that they have a plan to exit internal combustion engine vehicles somewhere in that 2035 timeframe. We're also seeing potential legislation from California and also 14 other states that may follow that may also ban internal combustion engine sales at 2035. So while the regulations between Europe and the United States may have been different in the past, we're seeing more commonality. So you may end up with a marketplace, a global marketplace that has very few internal combustion engine products that are available after 2035. So that's a key. And so you're going to see plenty of EVs that are introduced in the next couple of years and over the next 10 years. I think you're going to start seeing hydrogen fuel cells maybe used in long-haul trucking. That's a really interesting proposition. Pure EVs are a challenge for long-haul trucking because of the weight associated with it, and you have a much lower payload when you're carrying around batteries. But hydrogen fuel cells are really interesting in that space and could have a nice application in long-haul trucking. Also, the refueling time for hydrogen is very short. So it's much like going to a gas station. You can fill up the tank in 5 minutes versus a 30-minute or a 40-minute fast charge for DC batteries. So hydrogen fuel cells could be a really interesting future in long-haul trucking. And I think that's a positive impact on CO2 emissions or in climate change. I think green hydrogen is a really interesting solution for the long term. I think hydrogen for passenger cars in high volume are a long way off. And the primary driver would be because of the hydrogen infrastructure. If we think about long-haul trucking as being the first real application for hydrogen fuel cells, that makes sense. And I think you could see that in the next 3 to 5 years. And the number of refueling stations for hydrogen could be much smaller if you're talking about long-haul trucking. You could strategically place these recharging stations in the United States that are optimized for long-haul trucking. But it will take a while for that to develop, and until the infrastructure is really developed, you're not going to see it in high volume for passenger cars. So we're still 15 years away from high volume hydrogen fuel cell for passenger cars. But trucking, I think you'll see that soon.